So I don't know about you, but this whole new year, new me vibe is really, really difficult when it gets dark at 4 p.m. You probably clicked on this video because you've had a slow start to the year. And today I'm here to tell you that you still have time to accomplish all those goals on your vision board that you set just a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna walk you through 6 tips that will really help amp up your productivity in the winter time. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska. So let's get into these tips and I hope they're helpful for you. Tip number 1 is to take action, and I mean any action. I'm gonna say this one louder for the people in the back. Stagnation and your comfort zone are the enemy. It may feel safe, but it's also keeping us stuck. And I get it, I freeze up all the time, literally and figuratively. What helps me is getting really real with myself. So I utilize things like a daily habit tracker, and then I do a weekly review every Sunday before I go and plan for the next week. And I find just having a specific day for that is chef's kiss. I also journal multiple times a week. So that's another thing where I can go back and look at my journal entries and see, what it was like, what was on my mind at a certain period of time. So are you kind of starting to see a pattern here? Take action, review, revise. Take action, review, revise. And if you can't be 100% honest about your downfalls, and trust me, we all have them. It doesn't matter what someone looks like online or the image that they portray in the workplace, etc. We all have things that we're working on. If you can't be honest enough with yourself, then how do you expect to make a real change? Sorry if that's too real for tip number 1, but none of these tips are going to be very helpful if you can't be honest with number 1. See what I did there? Tip number 2 is that your positive self-talk needs to be on a constant loop. Yes, it's true you spend more time indoors during the winter, but that doesn't mean you should lock yourself into the walls of your own head too. Now, let me dig into this. Literally, my brain be talking mad shit, okay? I have to actively tell it to shut up multiple times a day. Kinda kidding, but not really. Negative rumination, which if you don't know what rumination is, it's just thinking about the same thing over and over and over again, different terrible outcomes, different negative things. It's the biggest enemy to, I think, a lot of people's mental health. I'm not, a mental health expert or a doctor, but it was a huge issue for me personally and a lot of people that I know. Just that overthinking brain never stopping. So here's what you do to kind of combat that. Make positive affirmations a part of your daily thoughts and habits. And I know positive affirmations sound kind of like woo-woo, and you don't necessarily always believe yourself when you're saying the affirmations. I totally get it, but it's so important to just still say them out loud or in your head. And yeah, you're gonna feel pretty silly at first, I'm not gonna lie. And eventually that's really gonna help you break free from those negative loops and input some more positive loops in your brain too. It's kind of like upgrading your inner dialogue. Some of my favorite mantras are I am mantras. So I am so blessed. I am so lucky to have a roof over my head. I am so lucky to have some Diet Coke next to me. And gratitude is obviously huge. I'm sure you've heard people talk about being gracious. Focusing on the things that you do have versus the things that you don't have. That's something I really try to visualize and think about a lot. Okay, tip number 3. Be in competition with yourself and yourself only. I don't care, how busy you are. You can be 1% better. You can swap out nachos for an apple. That's 1% better. Every single day you can make these tiny decisions that really add up. But before I even get into this tip, I want to kind of preface this with something. Let's talk about why other people's opinions straight up don't matter. I once heard it like this, and it literally gave me so much peace because I am a constant overthinker / people pleaser / anything you can think of regarding that. There's absolutely no way to know what somebody else is thinking about you. Yet you're creating all of these scenarios in your head about how you think they're thinking about you or perceiving you. Isn't that kind of judgmental of you to be projecting what you think they're thinking about you on to them? And kind of making them out to be the enemy when you don't even know if these people are thinking about you in the first place. They probably aren't. You're casting them as the villain by projecting your own insecurities onto their thoughts or what you perceive to be their thoughts. I hope that kind of makes sense, but it was really eye-opening for me to think about it like that, because literally, like, why am I being so judgmental of this person? Like, why am I making them out to be the villain when they are an adult? Probably mostly adults watch this channel. Shout out to my 26 to 35-year-old females out there. Love you guys. But literally, if an adult has an issue with you and they don't tell you about it, that is 100% their problem, not yours. Okay, so back to the 1% thing. It might seem small, like just swapping out one maybe unhealthy decision for a healthy decision, or, you know, it can be anything. I always come back to like the health examples because that's like the most relatable, I feel. It adds up to, calculating, 37.78 times your starting point. What if we take that metric and apply it to some real life scenarios? What if you were 37 times more fit? What if you were 37 times better at playing the piano because you practiced every day? Or what if you were 37 times more confident because you watched videos on how to be confident on YouTube for 10 minutes a day? That's the power of those small, consistent actions over a long period of time. And the change can really be huge. And this really goes kind of into another line of, you know, if you want to be extraordinary, if you want to do things that are, you know, above average of the normal person, what that takes on a granular level is consistent action over a long period of time. Your only competition is yesterday's you, so just keep focusing on that. Okay, tip number 5. This is a really interesting one for me, and I've been doing a lot of reading around this topic specifically for women in the workforce, but tip number 5 is to level up your career. In the great words of Travis Scott, the career is more at stake when you're in your prime. If you're watching this video, you're probably like in your 20s or 30s, working a 9-to-5 job. And girl, I'm with you. I work that 9-to-5 marketing role. Luckily, it's work from home, bless up. Women do not often go after power the same way men do. And not to go on like a feminist rant here or anything, but we definitely focus on power too, as opposed to power over. It's a pretty subtle difference, but it makes all the difference in how women lead and women in power, you know, tend to do things. And I'm totally generalizing here, of course, but I'm reading this book. It's, oh gosh, what's it called? Let me get it. My mom gave me this book. Hi mom, if you're watching. It's called The Power Code, and it's all about like women in power, women in the workplace, and how, if you think about it, corporate power structures were created by men, and women just kind of had to fall into place. Really an interesting read if that's a topic you're interested in. Women really focus on seeking power to elicit change and, you know, the power to make more good within the world. Or at least I hope. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you want to make more good in the world. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be watching this kind of video. All that to say, women don't often really go for those power roles, or they don't really spend as much time. And again, like I said, I'm generalizing here. But I've noticed this within myself and other people around me. You know, we don't really like spend as much time on those career focused goals, on those power goals, but all that to say is just find a way to level up your career, even if it's in a really small way this year. As a previous recruiter turned marketer, I've read a few books, I've learned a few new technologies, and I've looked really freaking stupid in the process at times. I'm not gonna lie. Made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I've grown from them and I've learned. Maybe ask yourself like, hey, what can I do this winter to, you know, up level a skill set, or take a course, learn something new, read a book. Honestly, like reading is my favorite way to gain more knowledge on topics that I'm interested in, and I read for work pretty often. And also just a reminder that no one's gonna advocate for you like you can advocate for yourself. Not everyone has supportive, fantastic bosses in their lives, unfortunately. And you know, if you're looking for a new job or a new role, by all means, keep it up, sister. I'm rooting for you. The job market is rough right now. If you are like, you know, in a decent role where you're, you know, at least semi-supported by your manager, then really go to them with your strengths, with your weaknesses and opportunities. Do a little SWOT analysis of yourself. One great quality that women have a lot of the times is we're very self-aware, so we can kind of take a step back and look at our progress. Tip number 6 is to get more sleep like your life depends on it. Kind of basic, kind of low key, but it honestly changed my life over these past couple months. Winter is a time for rest and a time to take a step back. Taking a rest is just as important as pushing yourself forward. And I know I've been very go, go, go with all these tips, but it's important to note that before the invention of the assembly line, people were not working like they work now. One cool fact that I've heard is that Native Alaskan tribes have actually adapted to the long, cold winters by embracing longer periods of rest. So in the darkest part of the winters, when some of the northmost regions are seeing no sunlight or only a couple hours of sunlight, it's not uncommon for people to sleep 9 to 10 hours a day. That sounds like a dream. And it sort of aligns with like the body's natural need to reserve energy in the colder months in the wintertime. Straight up, my bedtime is my favorite part of the night. And I didn't really feel this way until my brain fully developed at age like 25. We have all pulled all-nighters as like kids and teens, but I'm anything but childish about my bedtime routine these days. I'm so for real. Here are a few things that I do personally that help me get the most restful night's sleep. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying you should do these things. Do whatever works for you, but this has just helped me. No coffee after 2 p.m. That's a big one. Coffee has a half-life of, I think it's like 10 or 9 hours, which means it'll stay in your system that long. So you can still be getting the effects of caffeine 9 hours after you had that cup of coffee. So trust me, like just have a cup in the morning. You don't need coffee at 3 p.m. Like just fight through. Drink some water, you know what I mean? Like just try it and you'll see your sleep improve a lot. Phone off an hour before bed. I think we all suck at this, me included. I'm trying to be better about it. I really, really am. Maybe doing something like journaling, reading, winding down, kind of a non-screen activity before bed could be an easy way to sort of transition out of that screen time right before bed. When I'm going to bed, when I like lay my head down on the pillow, finally get to rest from my day, sometimes my thoughts be racing, but what I've done lately is imagine my dream life. What do I want my days to look like in extreme detail? And visualizing that, I think about what time I'll wake up, how much energy I'll have in the morning, how I'm gonna get up and take my bonnet off and take my heatless curls down and brush my teeth and drink my salt water and try and go get morning sunlight and go for a 5-minute walk. Like I think about it in such detail, and I actually go throughout my whole day, what I want my dream life, what I want my dream day to look like on a day-to-day basis. So just a fun, try it out. Some nice to haves, a cute pajama set, magnesium, mouth tape. Just buy the bonnet. Like, please. If you have long hair, buy the silk bonnet because my hair looks great. The girls be complimenting me all the time and I'm like, it's just a bonnet. Like for real, it's a bonnet and putting oil in my hair. Just remember to stay kind to yourself, keep moving forward, keep taking action, and those small wins are gonna eventually turn into really big wins. And if you're feeling really inspired to take charge in the new year, then make sure to check out my How to Accomplish All of Your Goals in 2025 video next, and I'll walk you through actionable steps on how to make those goals a reality. And trust me, I've got even more content coming on these types of topics. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Oh, Diet Coke is so good. Why is it so good? Cut.